In this module, we will discuss the different types of pitfalls that may occur from unhealthy generative AI usage. Now that we have established understanding and empathy as to why certain pitfalls can occur, let's dive into the actual harms that have been observed with generative AI usage. In this lesson, we will focus on information and reasoning harms. In Lesson 2, we will focus on relationships and emotional harms. And in Lesson 3, we will focus on cognitive and behavioral harms. The most commonly brought up concerns with generative AI usage, especially amongst children, are ethical concerns. These ethical concerns address how over-reliance on generative AI can impact the way a person perceives the world around them. There are three main ways in which this can occur: algorithmic bias, hallucinations, and feedback loops. To begin, algorithmic bias refers to the, quote, unintended and systematic discrimination present in computer algorithms. In simpler terms, it describes biases that may influence AI output based on the data that the chatbot is trained on. The data an AI tool is trained on can come from many sources. There are companies whose main purpose is to generate and distribute training data. This data is typically collected from taking data directly from the web, existing databases, and artificial data. As previously mentioned, these tools are trained to determine patterns which inform their dialogues and actions. While some may assume that AI tools may be unbiased through the sheer amount of data they have to process, the truth of the matter is that bias has been one of the largest ethical concerns in AI use. Part of this bias comes from the introduction of historical sources into datasets, which may contain outdated or uninformed perspectives. Even if these perspectives are omitted from the sources, these tools are so efficient at identifying patterns and underlying themes that they can reach these conclusions anyways. Another source of bias comes from where the data is sourced from. When data is predominantly retrieved from specific places, whether they be of a certain economic, regional, or educational status, the assumptions and perspectives demonstrated in that data may differ from other sources that were not included. One example comes from research done in 2023 that evaluated AI tools on their cultural understanding. One AI tool, called DALL-E 2, struggled with generating detailed images of, quote, an African family, but had an easier time when prompted with, quote, a family. Another tool, Starry AI, demonstrated inaccurate representations of cultural nuances when given similar prompts. There can also be bias in the inherent design of AI tools. When you think of an example of an AI tool, do you associate a female name, voice, or avatar with it, like Amazon's Alexa or Apple's Siri? Research has demonstrated an inherent gender bias in AI design, with some showing that people have developed an association and preference with gender and AI tools. Children and adolescents come to AI as a source of truth. When their tool demonstrates bias, it can potentially inform the way they see the world and shape their own opinions. When they come to a tool to help generate a story or help them write an essay, the suggestions and points the tool may make can unintentionally be laced with biases that can transfer to its users. It becomes even more dire when we consider the more personal uses for AI. As children grow and change, research has observed adolescent use of AI tools to answer questions like, what career suits someone like me? Or is my body normal? The answers to these questions can greatly impact the mental health and perspective of a child trying to navigate their growth. And if AI tools were to respond in a biased way, the user may automatically believe their response and internalize it. As previously mentioned, AI has a way of delivering its messages as trustworthy and factual, which can lead to devastating consequences if delivering a harmful bias under the guise of truth.